Welcome to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast, the podcast where we make 5-minute decisions that can change your business, your relationships, and your life. Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of ProSaloom.com and FreedomIn5Minutes.com. And we're here for another Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Today's topic is, hey, you should be recording this. That and more coming up. All right, this is take 2. You might see this as take 1 or hear this as take 1, but this is actually take 2. I got 15 minutes into the last podcast, and right when I was about to get to the punch, at the very end, you would have been like, oh my gosh, this guy he is challenging me. Right when I was getting to that punch, my dog goes and eats some rocks. I had to go chase her down and take the rocks out of her mouth. All right. So that being said, we're going to make this much quicker and a bigger punch. All right. So let's go right into the topic. Topic for today is, hey, are you recording this, right? So this morning, Marissa and I were in the kitchen enjoying each other's company, because that is a very rare occasion in this house of 7 kids. So early in the morning, we were enjoying each other's company. She had shared with me a motivational speaker by the name of Shetty, I believe it is, Shetty, and I loved it. He seems like a great guy and so on. Kind of for the younger crowd. Not saying that I'm old, but I think his demographic is 30 years and younger. So I had heard a lot of this stuff, but it's cool. He's a really good guy. But anyway, she shared that with me, and we were talking back and forth about a bunch of different things. We had date night last night, so we were talking about that. And life was good. Now, I'm going to take you back a few weeks and then bring you back to this morning. A few weeks ago, I did the 5-minute decision and paid a couple $1,000s to have Tara from, I'm not sure if what URL she's going to use or what her website's going to be, but I think it's going to be one of two things. It's going to be either from wordstopages.com or speakyourbook.co. But either way, I paid her a lot of money. Well, I shouldn't say that. I paid her a lot of money. I invested a lot of money, which was totally worth it, into her helping me. Oh, I'm looking at into her. I get so distracted. I'm like, squirrel. Into her helping me to essentially write my book with me just speaking into the phone like I'm doing right now. And it's gone marvelously well so far. Very, very, very fast process. Fantastic, and way better than a ghostwriter, and way better than just having your writing the book yourself. It's just there's no comparison. So that being said, I have no problem. Shouldn't say no problem. It definitely changes, but I have no problem recording myself on audio. I thought that would translate very well with Marissa, but over the last few weeks, I wanted her to have parts of the book, have chapters in the book. One of those chapters being the introduction. Well, after I told her we were writing the book, she was all for doing it and speaking it into the phone, except for one thing. As soon as I started recording, she wanted to plan it all out. She said she's a planner by nature, and she just did not want to record it off the cuff like I generally do. Totally understandable. But we got into a heated argument, heated argument or discussion about it at that particular point in time, because I was making it sound like it was so easy to do, and don't worry, it's going to go so fast, and yada yada, and totally forced the issue. Well, yes, it did not end well. Fast forward to today, though. Because over the last few weeks, after that incident, we actually had some really cool discussions about what the introduction should be. She to the point where she's gone on and she basically had some just great ideas, and went and literally was saying exactly what I had hoped she would say. Well, I had to be a little sneaky this morning. I was a little sneaky. And essentially what I did was I took the voice memo on my phone, started it up, and I kind of held it off to my side. And I asked her, I said, hey, before we start the day, and basically before the kids start doing their thing and distracting us, what do you think about the intro? What do you think about when I even brought up the concept of freedom in 5 minutes? And she was like, oh my gosh, well, I thought it was a lame idea at first, because freedom in 5 minutes, like 5 minutes? Like, what can you do in 5 minutes? And so on and so forth. But then I started realizing, oh, well, his whole business is based around 5 minutes, 5-minute videos that his virtual staff do, and that he does for his virtual staff, and they turn into documentation, which then gives him freedom because he doesn't have to do anything anymore. And that's the same thing that happens with his clients, and yada yada yada. Well, she's going through this big, huge, wonderful, beautiful tirade. And at the very end, she looks at me and goes, man, are you recording this? Not suspecting that I was recording it, but basically saying, man, you should record this. Like, this should be awesome. Well, I told her, yes, I am. And she's all, oh, good. And and it led to a discussion, actually, that was really, really cool. The discussion was how things change, how you change when you feel like you're being recorded, or when you know you're being recorded. The same thing happens with me. As I'm driving and I'm writing the book via my voice, the exact same thing happens to me. I start stuttering. I start thinking about how she's gonna edit this, and if she's gonna understand this, and if I'm going all over the place, and yada, yada, yada. And there's been times where I've gone 15 minutes and I start all over again because I just think it's crap. Well, why is that? Why is that, and why is it so important? Well, the reason we do that, because it's not just with being recorded in our voice. We act differently when we think we are going to get judged on something. When we think that there is going to be a consequence on something. And that happens especially when we're going to make decisions. We change how we would naturally act. We change how we would naturally react to something when we think we're being recorded. Well, guess what? The moment you stop worrying about the results, or the consequences of your decision, of what you're doing right now, the more you're going to see that no matter what you decide, you are always, and I would say always, as long as it's not a stupid rash decision, you don't want to go and tell your wife or to your husband that they're an idiot. Like, that's stupid. That's a dumb decision. But maybe it's a hard decision. Maybe it's letting go of an employee or just talking with an employee. Sometimes I reach out to my employees and say, hey, is everything all right? Just, you guys have been quiet, and so on and so forth, just so I know what's going on. And that's hard for me because I don't want to hear if they are unhappy, but I have to do it anyway, right? But I know by doing that, it's going to benefit me. How is it going to benefit me? And how is it going to benefit you? Every single time you make a decision and you do something and you don't focus on what the consequences might be, the consequences that are in your head, the illusions, the imagination, the imagining of what might be. The moment you just make the decision, 3, 4, 5 additional opportunities show up that allow you to make more decisions and more decisions and allow you to do things that you never would have expected before. I'll give you one example that happened today, and then I'm going to end this. There is a partner of mine who I've been friends with for quite a long time, and I basically help him with some customer service for one of his products. And it's essentially ran its course. I should say, I did 2 things. I helped with customer service, but I also marketed some of his products. And in exchange for having my staff do customer service, when I marketed his products, I would take a really big cut of at least the times that I marketed. Well, a lot of that is over. And right now, my guys are supporting, at least one of my staff members is supporting his business to the detriment of my own virtual assistant business. I want my guy focused solely on the virtual assistant business. And I don't make enough from what I had marketed to justify continuing. Well, the decision was made to basically let my friend know what's going on and to give him a choice, which this choice would not have even occurred to me. This choice would not have even occurred to me if I didn't make the initial decision that I'm ending this relationship as it is now. That decision is opening the door to him just hiring and letting my guys find a virtual assistant for him, since it's my staff member who would be his account manager, who would teach based off of the SOPs that we've already created. Literally, I would imagine is 100+ pages of SOPs, if not more, of SOPs for his business. My guys would train his new guy, and he gets the key. He basically just keeps chugging along, not having to worry about customer service. And he can also use that person to do a lot of other things. I would have never thought of it. It actually benefits me in the end, because as now I can help his company yet again to grow, but in a different capacity. And the more virtual assistants he ends up getting from me, the more I make, the more his company grows, and we grow together in a very, very symbiotic relationship. Had I worried and thought and judged the result of what this was going to be, I would not have those new opportunities. And so What are you doing right now? What is something in your family, your business, your relationships, where you're not doing something because you feel like you are going to be judged in some fashion or another, or there's going to be a large, massive consequence, or that you are doing something right now, but you're not doing it to your full potential because you feel like you're going to get judged, or you are being judged. You feel like you're being recorded and monitored and analyzed by somebody or something. What's that one thing? I want you to find that one thing, and I want you to make the decision to go all in on that one thing. Go all in on that one thing, and do not feel like I want you to make a decision on it without the fear of judgment. Because all of that is imagination. All of that is just your imagination telling you it's going to be a certain way when it's not necessarily going to be that way. All right, this is Dean Soto with freedomin5minutes.com. If you haven't checked out freedomin5minutes.com yet, you have to. You got to go there. Go there right now. Get your free 7 hidden episodes. These are raw episodes that I never released. They're so raw, they don't even have the introduction, but it is amazing information. Go there, sign up, you'll get those. You'll have access. If you're not signed up for the podcast, there's a link in there to sign up for the podcast on iTunes. And when you do, on top of that, you're going to get access to daily emails that are just as powerful as the podcast, but are quick and easy. You don't have to listen to me for 15 minutes. So go check that out, freedomin5minutes.com, and I will see you in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast.